Welcome to the wacky world of Blobville, where everything is squishy, bouncy, and a little bit weird. Meet Bob the Blob, a bright blue blob with googly eyes sitting on a rock-looking board. Bob sighed, another day in Blobville. Nothing exciting ever happens here. I wish I could go on an adventure or something. Suddenly a loud echoed in the distance. Bob jumped, wobbling like jelly. Whoa, what was that? Nutty, a tiny hyperactive squirrel, sprinted into the scene, panting heavily. Bob, you gotta see this! There's a giant thing in the forest! A giant thing? What kind of giant thing? Bob asked, eyes wide with curiosity. I don't know, it's shiny, it's loud, and it's eating all the acorns, Nutty exclaimed. Eating acorns, that's your job, Bob replied, confused. Exactly, this is an emergency, Nutty squeaked. Bob sighed dramatically, then stood up with determination. All right, Nutty, let's go check it out. But if this is another one of your acorn emergencies, I'm rolling away. Bob and Nutty rushed off into the forest, the camera following them. The forest was dark and spooky, with strange noises echoing around. Bob and Nutty tiptoed through the trees. Okay, Nutty, where's this giant thing you were talking about? Bob whispered. It's right over there, but be careful, it's terrifying, Nutty pointed, shivering. They peeked through the bushes and saw a giant metallic robot squirrel, stomping around, collecting acorns and stuffing them into a glowing container. Whoa, that's not a squirrel, that's a squirrel, Bob exclaimed. I told you it was scary, it's stealing all my acorns, Nutty cried. All right, Nutty, we need a plan. How do we stop a giant robot squirrel? Bob asked. Throw acorns at it? Nutty suggested. Great idea, except it's already stealing all the acorns, Bob replied, rolling his eyes. Bob thought for a moment, then snapped his googly eyes. I've got it. We'll distract it with something shiny. Robots love shiny things, right? I guess? Nutty shrugged. Bob spotted a shiny rock, picked it up, and waved it in the air. Hey, robot squirrel, over here! Look at this shiny thing! The robot squirrel turned its head and spotted the shiny rock. It started stomping toward Bob. Uh-oh, it's working! Run, Nutty, run! Bob shouted. Bob and Nutty started running, with the robot squirrel chasing them. The scene turned into a chaotic chase, with Bob wobbling and Nutty zigzagging through the trees. They ran into a clearing where they had set up a trap earlier, a giant net made of vines. Quick, Nutty, pull the lever! Bob yelled. Nutty pulled the lever and the net fell on the robot squirrel, trapping it. The robot struggled but couldn't break free. We did it! We caught the acorn thief! Nutty cheered. Yeah, but now what do we do with it? Bob wondered. Suddenly, the robot squirrel started beeping loudly. A hologram appeared showing a mad scientist. Ah, so you've caught my Acorn Collector 3000, but you'll never stop my plan to take over Blobville with an army of robot squirrels. Mwahaha! The mad scientist cackled. The hologram disappeared, and the robot squirrel exploded into a pile of nuts and bolts. Did he say army of robot squirrels? Nutty asked, eyes wide with fear. Yep. Looks like this is just the beginning of our adventure, Bob replied, determined. Bob and Nutty exchanged determined looks. Let's go save Blobville, Bob declared. They ran off into the sunset, ready for their next adventure. End of episode 1.